Alright, so in the first few minutes of this video, I forged this out. Just simple drop point hunter. Right? So I'm going to put a grind on it. And this one's actually for me. So the wife and kids got me some handle material for our anniversary. So instead of putting it on a knife and selling it, I'm going to put it on a knife and for myself. So it's this green, pretty cool looking stuff. Gray and black. I got black pins for it. Pretty interesting. I've never worked with this before. And I've made plenty of knives. I've got another 5 sitting here on the table ready to grind as well. So this one will be the first one I'm going to make for myself. And the video will go through just about the whole process. I mean, yeah, I'm even going to make a sheath for it. So learning how to do sheaths, learning, yeah, that's a first for me. Sheaths, I haven't done sheaths yet. So we'll get this done. Try and get a little better angles so you can actually see what's going on. You know, instead of just watching me in the background, because you guys, I mean, you know, it's a learning process. It's a learning process. Video editing, making the knives is a learning process. Video editing is a learning process. Still learning. Only 2 years in. So we'll get after. So that's what I did. I just cut that in a little bit. Didn't take a whole lot. So it didn't take a whole lot. Just removed a little material. Made my hand a little more comfortable on it. That's all. So we'll go to the next part. that started recording all by itself. All right. Must be the water from my hands making it go off. So, I mean, that's rough shaped. You know, it's going to be a brute forge finish. When I'm done with it, it'll have most of this, you know, still here. Just wire wheeled off. You know, this will be rounded. I'm thinking of cutting into it a little bit and then taking, you know, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch off. Kind of lower that right there, and it'll also give me a place to put jimping for my jimping file, and then that'll give this kind of like a false edge right there, which is kind of cool looking, in my opinion. But it's my favorite style of handle. So I like that style of handle that, you know, it kind of drops in your palm. You know, it just kind of fits in your palm real well, and it's reminiscent of like an old timer, you know. So an old timer, like something like this. So this is a manufactured knife. Was my dad's. Was given to him by a gentleman who's passed. They're both passed now, so that's why it's in my possession. But it's reminiscent of this style handle. So this is a Sharp Finger. It's an Old Timer is the name of the company, I believe. Old Timer. They make a different, bunch of different styles, but this is called a Sharp Finger, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I think that's a Sharp Finger is what that's called. And then, so it's reminiscent of this style handle, which kind of, you know, fits in the palm. It's got that curve, you know, and then this, it's just, I don't know. They just always have felt good. So that style of handle has always felt good in my hand. So that's why I like that style of handle, is because it feels right. Feels like it should. So I'm going to mark a spot with my thumb. Like I said, it is for me. So I'll mark a spot like that. About right there. So I'll mark a spot on this spot for me to file into. I'll use just a chainsaw file. So it'll be probably the thickness of a chainsaw file filed into it. And then I'll remove that much material from the top of it all the way down. Maybe less from the back, you know. But probably less in this curve right here. So, yeah. So I'll come back after I get the file work done. So there's that. I mean, it's pretty, you know, minimal. It's about a little less than 1/8. About half the width of a chainsaw file. Filed into it. Then I'll grind down from there and taper it out. So we'll go do that real quick. So let's see, I changed my belt out. That was like a very old 36 grit. It was probably close to what this is right now, but this is just another, you know, this is a 50 grit, which is a little easier to start working with. The 36 grit, anybody running these belt grinders will tell you the 36 grits are chunky, man, chunky. Yeah, it'll throw red shit all over you for a while before it gets old like that one. That sucker is old right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've used everything, every bit of it I can. It still works though. I mean, I still get. So, but that's an old 36 grit right there. Yep. This is an old 50 grit. A little easier to work with, I guess. So you can see how it definitely changes the shape of that blade. Just by putting that on there, I mean, gives me a spot for the jimping. I could actually go a little deeper. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit it with the file again. Go a little deeper, maybe, you know, an eighth for sure. Because like I said, that was under an eighth right there. So I'll go a little deeper than that, and then that's where I'll put my jimping as well. So, but that sucker's starting to feel real nice. Starting to feel real nice. I probably went a little too far forward, but that's all right. It won't make a difference. It'll still feel the same. So we'll go back to the file. I'll come back, grind that some more, and then we'll go from there. So there that is. I don't even know if you could tell, but I put a little deeper. That's all. I'll round it out a little better. It'll get softer, so it's not such a sharp edge right there. But onto the flats now. So we'll get this nice and flat. I'll you know, drill some holes and we'll get going from there. I mean, there's not much left to do actually. Mark out where I want my bevels and make sure the handle's nice and flat through here. Drill some holes. Get some room for some glue in there. And like I said, there ain't much left to do other than heat treat. It's got to be heat treated. Probably got to heat my oil up. It's cold today, so I probably got to heat my oil up to get that done. And then I got, I don't know, 5 more to grind before I heat treat this. So there'll probably be a large gap in time between this and then. No telling. We'll see how long. Those ones don't need much grinding either. So that's nice about doing your best to forge the shape. Barely got to do any grinding on it, which is real nice. But they're all of them will be like that. They're all going to be, you know, forge finish. I already started cutting these out on these guys. So I got, you know, these are all cut out and comfortable. So, all right. Oh, sucker started recording all by itself again. Interesting. it's got this spot in it right there. I got to work flat. If not, it'll leave a gap in the handle material at the end there. Well, it'll just be like a gap of glue. It'll look like shit. So, do my best to get that side flat, and we go to drilling holes in it. And from there, bevels. So let's get going here. I take a long break, put a jacket on. It got cold quick. Oh. Good. Just a little tiny bit. Okay. Well. Alright, so I met it halfway. I ground the end in a little bit rounder there, just to get rid of that little bit of a bevel. Like I said, it'd lift a gap like that where you got a big just gap of glue. I mean, it just looks terrible. So I accidentally ground into the brute a little bit, so it should be all right. It'll come out in the wash, I figure. So I'm gonna make some marks on it, and we'll drill some holes in it, and 1/4 inch holes, and then from there I'll probably put a hollow grind, which I probably should have done from the start. Was started with a hollow grind, but it I don't know. I wanted to get it flat. I like them flat so I can make my marks and see my marks. It's a lot easier to make your mark and see your mark. I guess you can see your mark with the scale still on there, but I don't know. And then do your hollow grind. I like doing the hollow grind after the holes are drilled. I don't like to do it before, because then if I'm, drilling a hole and I got this big, scoop there that I'm trying to drill through and it's making my bit wander, it just makes me nervous, makes, think about breaking a bit. I mean, it is 1/4 inch bit, kind of hard to break it, but you know what I mean. So I guess we'll make some marks and go from there. So here's what I do. I scribe the line. I find a point on the knife. I cut it in half, and I'll scribe a line down the center, at least of what I think is the center, and then I'll punch my holes to drill, kind of like where it looks good, right? So, I mean, it's not really like, oh, I'm going to measure it. It'll look good here, right? Or I'm going to measure 1 inch off of this or 1 inch off of that. It's kind of just, in my mind, where it's going to look the best, right? Is how I do that. I don't do it. I'm not like super precise with everything, right? I do my best to eyeball it and make it like aesthetically pleasing. Is that a word? Aesthetically pleasing? Pleasing? Appeasing. Pleasing. Pleasing. Yeah, I think I put 2 words together there. That's all right. So aesthetically pleasing is where I like to put my pins. Anyways, I don't measure off of anything other than to like try and get center, right? I try and make it center. So let me grab a hammer, do some banging, and we'll come back to drilling a hole. All right. So here's what we got. Here's what I use and I've had the best luck with. Let's see if I can get this in the camera. So it's the Milwaukee, it's the Cobalt bit, right? It's 1/4 inch because that's usually what I use on a pin is a 1/4 inch pin. But it's a Cobalt bit. I use primarily 5160. So 5160 drills like butter, like real 5160. You get like 5160 out of like a 1970s truck, right? So these are, big leaf springs that I got. I got stacks of them. And I make a lot of knives from them, and they come out. It's really good steel. It's forgiving steel in the heat treat, right? 1095 is kind of easier to drill. It's not terrible as long as it's been annealed properly, right? But this stuff, this stuff right here. So this stuff is spring steel, obviously, right? I mean, you can obviously see it's a coilover spring, right? But this is out of a 2000 truck, right? So this is out of, I think, like a 2000, 2001, 2002 Ford F-250 is what this came out of. And it's spring steel, but it's not 5160. It's something different. It heat treats about the same. It doesn't act any different in the heat treat. But when you go to drill this stuff, I'm here to tell you, you're going to tear a bit up. I mean, I've just about every knife I got to drill with this stuff, I tear a bit up. So I'll spend, $15 on a bit, because they're not very expensive. It's a $15 bit, but I burn one up every time, at least one. So, but with this other stuff that's from a 1970 truck, it's true 5160, drills like butter 90% of the time. I very rarely have a problem drilling this stuff. So, let's see if I can't drill some nice holes in this one. So, there's our punch marks. Like I said, nothing's really measured other than center, Let's see. Oh, gotta plug her in. All right. Butter. Drilled like butter. That's what I'm talking about. That's like best case scenario right there. It just drilled like butter. And yeah, that's what you want right there. That's what I'm talking about. The difference between like real 5160 out of like a 1970 truck, something probably made in America. I'm pretty sure that stuff's like probably from China or something. I don't know. It like I said, it heat treats the same. It just when it comes to drill a hole, it just builds up with carbides, man. You get that trying to get through it, it just burns a bit up so quick. So quick. So from there, start messing with the handle material from there, and I could start shaping that. I might be able to get a glue up before the end of the night. It is cold as shit out here, so I'm sure my epoxy is going to not want to work with me, but I think we can get a glue up and then finish it off tomorrow. And then, I'll do the bevels and everything. Oh, I still got a heat treat. Get a little ahead of myself, aren't I? So next I would heat treat is what I would do next. So I'll have to come back tomorrow and do that. That would have made a mess, wouldn't it? Do a glue up on a knife that's not heat treated. That'd have been terrible. That'd have been a good show. All right. Okay. So now that I'm this far, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hollow grind in the handle, and then I'm going to grind the bevels. So I'm going to grind the bevels, get it to about, I don't know, about thickness of a quarter or a dime, somewhere in there. I'll scribe a line down the center, and then go from there. That's what we're looking at. So they're both sides, a little too high in the middle there. So, a little too high in the middle there of that one. That's all right. It's not that big of a deal. Really, it's just there to give you a spot for the glue to go when you do your glue up. And then it makes the handle a little lighter. I mean, these are, small knives. You don't really need to reduce weight or anything. But it is a nicer feel when the weight is forward on the blade. And so it just needs jimping, and then I'll go to bevels after this. Alright. So that is ready for heat treat for the most part. Got a thinner edge. Let's see. That's how she came out. So this is the side I bumped the Brute Forge when I was flattening the handle. So, you know, have a little belt in it. Be all right though. I may push the wood up that far anyways. It may go like that. So maybe a little corner will show. No telling. Find out. Here's the other side. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Especially done by hand. Not a fan of jigs. Just not a fan of them. So the trick there is you get yourself a real big bevel to start to protect your Brute, and then you feather it back from there and try and make both sides match. I mean, they'll never be picture perfect, but you can get them pretty close. You can get them pretty close. You always want to do your top first, that way it transitions real nice and smooth right there. If you do it the other way around, it looks goofy. Doesn't look right. So, but she's ready for heat treat, and we'll put a handle on it tomorrow.